the whole idea with this going live I'm going to do it every morning. I'm even going to try and do it on the weekends just to sort of share. I want us to connect. I think with this whole social distancing thing, it may lead to us becoming in our own little worlds and that. And also, a lot of minds together can come up with some innovating plans and ideas. And if I can just help one person in the morning, this gives me some purpose in order to do this. Thank you very much for joining me on this Sunday morning. Just first off, how are you? Are you doing well? What are you doing in these times? I hope you saw my session yesterday on 21 things that you must focus on. But I think there's some great ideas there for you to be able to get that. Jeez, one doesn't know what's going on with the weather this morning. Back to winter. Today is going to be interesting. I must be honest with you. I've got several technologies going on at the same time. Do a live demonstration on WhatsApp for you and show you exactly what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. Yeah, so I think I've maybe bitten off a bit more than I can chew. Welcome to episode 40, and I still don't have a cake. I don't know, 40 episodes, 40 days in a row. It's huge. Number 50. We made it. 50 days, 50 episodes, non-stop. So thank you very much. Episode 60. Wow, that's 60 episodes. And what a guest we've got this morning. Tanya Kunze is with us, and really a fantastic guest to celebrate episode 60 with us this morning. Good morning. Welcome. Another week, another show, and the last week that we'll be going live on a daily basis. I'm really grateful. I've been thinking about this. It's really amazing that we were able to sort of go live every single day and then build this community and just have all of you become friends. It's a lot of you that I haven't known before. So I'm extremely grateful and thankful for that. So thank you very much for choosing to spend your time with me. But yeah, good morning. We're back, episode 80. We're getting closer to that 100th episode. Type the episode number on the thumbnail. It was really, wow, this is 80 episodes. Good morning, welcome back. We are on episode 90, and I'm really happy that I'm able to do, things like the show. Good morning. This is episode 100. We finally made it. Felt like this was never ever going to happen. But here we are with a very special guest this morning, Nici Haddad from Beirut in Lebanon. And I'm really looking forward to hear his story. Tuesday morning, the 6th of October in 2020, a year that we will never forget. I think there's another year that I won't forget. Is the year that the Cheetahs won the Currie Cup. I think it was 2005 with a lucky bounce of a ball. So good morning. Welcome to episode 120. And thank you very much for being a part of this journey. Good morning. Welcome back. Can you believe season 1? Well, no, season 2, episode 1. Good morning. Oh, it's been a while. I'm pulling on the wrong levers here. Good morning. Episode 150. Can't believe it. The first 75 days flew by. The show has evolved. We've progressed. We've had fantastic guests. We have grown the subscriber base. Looking forward to the next 150. Here we go. Last show of the year. They are really looking forward to next year. So there will definitely be a season 3. Let's cue the new intro. Let's do it. Good morning. Welcome back to another episode. This is episode 10 of season 3, and my special guest this morning is Eden Kip. We are really struggling with electricity supply in South Africa, and so it changes all the time. So unfortunately, this morning there was no power until 8:30, so hence we're going live a little bit later. So really looking forward to today's topic, talking about if this is what the future for independent financial advisors hold.
Good morning. Sure. Doesn't matter how much I practice, it doesn't work. Anyway, 200. This will probably go into a future video as well. Yeah, so cool. So you can plan as much as you want. You can think of everything, and then 6 o'clock in the morning, oversharing in the shower. Stage 4 load shedding kicks in. So unfortunately, I apologize for the quality this morning. Unfortunately, there's nothing I can do about that for now. Just by the way, if you are interested in sponsoring a backup power supply, please get in touch with me. There is an option for that we put out a couple of weeks ago. This is so frustrating. But anyway, welcome to 200. And what a guest we have today. Yeah, Mr. Dawie Roodt. So looking forward to that. I will compose myself in a second because I'm going to call on Nici and Norma to join me. But just to take the focus off of me. Anyway, warm welcome this morning. Thank you very much for joining us. I can see there's so many people here today. I really appreciate it. Before I get into the rest of this, there's some interesting things we are going to do and talk about, etc., and things I'm going to share, apart from my amazing conversation with Dawie. And that is, I want to invite Norma and Nici to join me. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning, Francois.
Well, welcome. This is also you have both been involved in the show for the last 2 years. And I'm sort of keen, Norma, I think you joined first. Nici came on a little bit later, although the FBI also came on at the same time you did 2 years ago. But how's this ride been for you?
Oh, it's been, I think for me, especially a big learning curve. You gave me the opportunity to start speaking, and I really think, obviously, if I look back to my first episode, there was lots of learning that happened, and I think thank you to you for giving me the opportunity to grow and make mistakes, and that I'm still here today. So, and I think just looking at what you're doing and how courageous you are, and the value that you put out there, it just inspires me to also go do the same. And just to think of what you've done in this 200 episodes, the amount of value and knowledge that you've put out there, it's really just incredible. It's just so inspiring. Thank you for being part of this.
No, thank you very much, Norma. And Nici, for you, I know there's loads going on. It's busy, and then sometimes it's just hectic to work all of this stuff in. But how's the ride been for you?
I think, as you said, I came in a little bit later, but FBI's been part of this from the beginning. And what you try and do here fits in 100% with the vision and mission that FBI's got. And therefore, the passion that you exude when you speak to the people and the knowledge that you gain from watching the show really is invaluable, and I cannot overstate it. And then just one thing, Francois, on your 200th episode, congratulations, and you've officially been longer on the air than both CSI New York and Star Trek Voyager. So I don't know if that makes it a little bit more real.
Yeah, that's amazing. So thank you very much for that. I think sort of, Norma, you alluded a little bit to some of the takeaways for you. Is there anything else you'd like to share? Just sort of, what has been the biggest takeaway for you from being a part of this?
I think just being part of this community and just see what a community can do for you. I think how people can stand together. And what I've seen is, we're always scared to go and ask people for help. But I think this community shows that there's always people willing to help and they want to help. So I think we shouldn't be scared to go and ask people, because I've seen, now that people want to help you. I also think it's not only passion that gets you to success. I think you've shown us that passion really helps quite a bit, but I think that commitment and the hard work and doing things that doesn't always feel good in the moment. I think that's a big takeaway, that we've got this journey ahead of us, and we always think it needs to be like rainbows and daisies, but you've shown us that you can still keep going, although there's times and things that we need to do sometimes that we don't feel like doing. And I think maybe as well, your belief in yourself and your knowledge, that leads you can see when you talk, you're so confident about what you say and within yourself. I think that's quite a big takeaway for me. That's, again, so inspirational.
Man, that means a lot. Thank you very much, Norma. Nici, I'm going to ask you the same question. Your biggest takeaway from this before we end off?
I think if I look at the variety of topics that you've had on the show, and yet still, I don't think you've covered even covered any of what a financial advisor and financial planner in practice really means. I think this is so valuable because every week there's something that I can take away. No matter who you are and where you work in the financial planning services, every week there's something that you can take away and go and use practically in your practice or in your work or wherever you are situated. And you haven't even scratched the surface yet of what our industry needs. And that is why we are so excited to keep walking this journey along with you and to see what you do next.
I'm also interested to see what we do next. I think it is because it's such a great team and we do so many great things together. And I think that's where the secret sauce really is. It's not just me or about me or what I'm doing. It's really just everybody pitching in and doing a little bit, to help us get the message out there. And I think for me, the biggest thing is how aligned we all are. I mean, from the audience side right through to me, to you as segment host, etc. And I mean, Igno has been a segment host. We've had Razan, we've had Louis. So there's been several other people also involved in the background, but the two of you have been most consistent and they're every single week. And if I say, the two of you, it includes the entire FBI, because like you're lucky, you can rotate. Poor Norma and myself, we've got to be here every week. But the FBI is here. So just a massive thank you from my side as well. I really appreciate your input and your effort and getting up early. And I know the relief there was yesterday when I said, no, you don't need to go look for news for this morning, Nici. So yeah, but thank you to both of you and to all the other hosts for making this program special this year.
Great, pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Ladies, I'll see you. I hope you're going to stick around for the rest of the show. Thank you very much.
Sure.
I do. Thanks. So I do want you to know that just like I've chatted to them, you have got the opportunity to check in. I've got time to take two. If you want to come in live to the studio, you can use the link on the screen. It'll bring you into the studio. Probably please with a video if you can. And then if you want to say a couple of things, then you're more than welcome. So on that note, I am, however, going to first, before I share a little bit of stats with you, I do want to share some of the, Norma sort of had an initiative where she asked people to record short messages, and I'm going to play the first of those two videos.
Hi, Francois. It's Rassi here, all the way in PE. Firstly, I just want to say super congratulations on your 200th episode of PROpulsion. Man, I'm so happy and proud of you, knowing how far you've come and how much work you put in since the first episode of Virtual Coffee with Francois.
To recognize Francois the Toy, and congratulations on your 20th episode that you have. Francois, thank you so much for taking continuous professional development serious. Thank you for staying up to date with especially estate planning and tax planning, because what you know, you share with us. I really look forward to the rest of your episodes. And
Happy 200th episode. I remember being with you on that very first one and how far this has come and the immense value that you've added to me personally, my business, my practice, being someone that we could always talk to, lean on, and learn new skills, grow and develop personally and professionally. The impact you've had is immeasurable. And
Hey Swys, ek wil net vir jou sê baie geluk met jou 200ste episode. Dis regtig 'n mylpaal. Dit is min ouens wat dit sou regkry. Ek wil net vir jou sê persoonlik vir my het dit al baie beteken. Ek leer elke dag, elke Vrydagoggend van jou en ek moet jou sê sonder dit sou ek definitief 'n leerpersoon gewees het as ek nou is. Ek waardeer dit, ek waardeer jou deursettingsvermoë.
Hallo Francois. Well done op your 200ste episode. It is one amazing feat to have done that in 2.5 years. I just personally want to tell you that you have my 100% support for the next 200. And I do want to tell you that over the last 2.5 years, and especially that first 6 months to 9 months, that morning show, the PROpulsion show, that live show, has taken me through a very tough time, has allowed me to learn a lot about how to pivot your practice.
Congratulations on 3 series and 200 episodes. What a journey. You're one of the most generous people I know. You value education. You give back so much to your profession.
Yo, even Mark from Down Under. Thank you very much, ladies and gents, for that. All right, so next up, before I get too focused on that, let me share with you just a couple of stats around the show. Well, we've done 199 episodes, excluding today. Today is obviously 200, and it's been quite a journey. So we've grown our subs on this channel, on the YouTube channel specifically. I haven't included any of the LinkedIn stuff here. Next year, by the way, I'm going to focus exclusively on YouTube and no longer broadcast to the other destinations. But we've grown our subs to 1,145, coming from 76. So that has been great. And doing this only with a live show, I think, is really not an easy thing to do. It really means, commitment on the one hand, but consistency is so important. It's not like uploading videos all the time and you can upload 2 or 3 videos a week that drives the numbers, etc. So this is only from live. And so really, really happy with that. For the show specifically, 30,167 views. I hope the stats is correct. I worked on it this morning early, so I hope it's right. I thought it was closer to 40, but there were some other things in there that I had to take out. So about 30,000 views on this show alone since we started on the 20th of March, just by the way. There's about 7,198 watch hours. So this is how much time people have spent watching what we have produced. And obviously people don't watch the entire thing apart from when they hear live. We found that people watching live do watch for much longer, but this is quite a big thing as well. That equates to about 430,000 minutes. So massive. All right. Then also announcing season 4, definitely happening. So we are ending the last show this year is on the 9th of December. And the last 2 I'll be broadcasting from Cape Town, by the way. So I've broadcast quite a few episodes from different places in the country, from Hermanus to Cape Town to Paul. So next 2 weeks will be from, I'm not too sure where it'll be on the first Friday, but I'm talking to David on Zara. And every time I speak to him, I'm in Cape Town. I don't know why. But anyway, so then we will move over to Blouberg, and the last one will be broadcasted from Blouberg. But I'm really looking forward to that. Season 4 will start early February. Looking forward to a revamped, refreshed, re-energized show. So have a look, follow me and make sure you know what we are up to. So we're working closely with a few people to just level up the show again. Every year we want to level up, from the intro to the segments to the quality of the broadcast, the camera, the audio, and backup power, hopefully. So season 4 is definitely coming. Also, there's sponsorship opportunities for next year's season. So if you want to get involved, do let me know. There's different things that you can do. And it's like, again, I don't know, most things I do is crazy cheap. So shouldn't say that out loud, but it is. So if you want to support us, please get in touch. And then also announcing a second show. So this is not what the new show, what next year's show is going to be about. I'm starting a second show that'll be every Tuesday morning, also a live show. It's all going to be about tech. So specifically for financial advisors, financial planners. So really looking forward to that as well. Alrighty, so that's that for the stats. And before I I don't see anyone in here who wanted to join me live, which is fine. But before I bring Dawie on, I want to play the second video from that Norma's put together with some messages from you guys. Thank you so much.
Hi, Francois. Congratulations on your 200 episodes. I am very excited for you, and PROpulsion is the way to go for us financial planners, because you give us updates on what's happening on the financial industry.
Hi, Francois. Congratulations on 200 episodes. The work that you're doing for our profession and our industry is extremely valued and appreciated, and I look very much forward to the next 200 episodes. And congratulations once again.
Francois, when I think about you, it's your friendliness, your willingness to share, and your generosity of spirit that really, really stand out for me. Congratulations on your 200th episode of PROpulsion Live. What a milestone. Keep going.
Just a quick congratulations on your 200th episode of what is now known as PROpulsion. I believe you've inspired so many people, including myself. And I just thank you for your humbleness, for your willingness to just sit and have a cup of coffee and just speak, your approachability, Francois.
Francois and team, a massive congratulations on this epic milestone that you've reached. Francois, you're a true testament that anything really is possible if you just start. What you've created is an invisible thread that runs through an entire industry, and the impact that you've had and will continue to have is impossible to measure. You've created a safe space for planners and service providers alike, big or small, from all walks, to grow, to connect, to learn, to be exposed to new ideas and new ways of doing things that goes beyond the norm.
I just want to say thank you so much for what you've done for the profession in starting PROpulsion Pro. I can really say from the bottom of my heart, it has meant so much to me. When I joined PROpulsion in 2021, I thought I was just going to do my CPD points and that's what it would be. But I can honestly say it has meant so much more to me. It has it's given me fresh ideas for my practice. It has inspired me, and it has really made me optimistic about my future and having my own practice.
Good stuff. Thank you very much. And with that, it's time now to bring Dawie onto the show. So we'll do that right after this.
My guest today is none other than renowned economist Dawie Roodt. Now, Dawie is a founder and he's director and chief economist of the Efficient Group, and many of you will probably know that. He also serves on a variety of investment committees within the Efficient Group. So Dawie's latest role is that of chairman of Efficient Private Clients, of which Efficient Group is the majority shareholder. Dawie is a nationally renowned economist with over 30 years of experience. It feels like yesterday. Like, I think as I've grown up in this business, like, Dawie has always been part of it. So now I'm getting worried that I've been around for so long as well. But anyway, so he specializes in monetary and fiscal policy and is currently doing extensive research on the possible impact of cryptocurrencies on monetary policy. So which is quite an interesting topic, and hopefully we'll get time to talk a little bit about that. He's also closely involved with the management of client asset portfolios, and his interest in international and local politics has grown significantly, and he's become knowledgeable in the field of politics as well. And Dawie's ranked as the most, and with no, I don't think this comes as any surprise, but he's ranked as the most referenced economist in South Africa and has received the prestigious Economist of the Year award by Media 24. And then something that I can only aspire to, and hopefully I can be around for this long, he has been the anchor presenter of the television program on Bait Soccer for the past 19 years. So Dawie, warm welcome to Propulsion Live this morning.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the invite.
No, it's a pleasure. I was so happy that you accepted. And I really sort of can't wait to get into the conversation. I think there's many things that are on our minds and things that are worrying. These last few months or so, I've had regular conversations with my wife around, there's always hope, and we always tend to hang on to hope. But then there's also reality and things that we really need to take notice of, because it's almost like, the frog in the water kind of thing, where things slowly but progressively gets warmer and warmer, and before you know it, you're a cooked frog. And those are some of the things that I want to talk about. Now, I recently saw, I think you were on a podcast with David Anzara a few months ago in September or somewhere, and he titled it that SA is ready to explode. And David's going to be on the show next week, by the way. But, it's just that's a massive statement to make. And I'm quite keen to hear from you. How did we land up here? Like, how do we get to this point? And is this still the case where we're about, and I guess I'm asking a rhetorical question, but are we ready to explode, and how did we get here?
Yeah, it sounds quite dramatic. And I think the answer is yes, we are ready to explode or implode, or things are ready to change quite drastically. But maybe I can start off by saying, and you mentioned, you're talking to your wife and everything is doom and gloom. But what certainly is happening is that the environment in which we find ourselves today is changing. It's changing quite rapidly. So what is important for everybody is to understand what is going on, to understand what the risks are, and manage those risks, and also try to identify the opportunities that come with a changing environment. So the environment is changing, and it's important to try to understand where it all started. And then there's, of course, not a beginning date. But sort of the things have been changing recently, and it's important to try to understand what is going on. Now, internationally, a lot of things has been happening. Recently, we saw a new change in the world with the war in Europe, as an example. What's been happening internationally as well, it's important to understand that, is that certain technological changes are taking place, and that is changing the world in which we are living in. Cryptos is a very good example of that. We're probably going to talk about that. Locally, a lot of things change in South Africa. We all know politics changed a lot in South Africa last, say, 30 years, 25, 30 years or so. And of course, with change in politics will come change in ideologies and change in policies and that sort of stuff. So you've got a new bunch of guys that's running, mostly guys, by the way, running the state on our behalf. They're called government. They came in, I think they did initially a relatively good job. But gradually what's been happening is that the wheels started coming off. So if you ask me what went wrong, I think it's a very short acronym, and it's ANC went wrong. That's what went wrong in South Africa. The ANC is the reason for most of our problems that we have in South Africa. Of course, there are other challenges. Of course, there are droughts. And of course, there are international conflicts and all sort of things that the world throws at us. But there are so many own goals that we've scored the last couple of years, and that's what went wrong. The ANC led us to where we are today. Now, I can give you all the numbers. South Africans today, on average, for the past 10 years, we've been getting poorer. We are approximately 62 million people in South Africa. Of that 62 million people, more than 30 million people are directly depending on the state for an income every month. We have approximately 13, 14 million people that work in the private sector, and they fund all that 30 million people. We have rising levels of unemployment. We know that. We have rising levels of poverty, especially absolute poverty, which is a very horrible and a bad thing. And in this environment, we have rising levels of inflation, especially food inflation. So put all of that together, and I can tell you this is a toxic mix. It's a toxic mix of things that can go wrong, and it can go wrong quite dramatically. And we saw what happened last year in KZN, for example. So whenever there's a strike or political developments of some sort, or somebody calling for something somewhere, I just want to grab them by the shoulders and say, listen, please be careful what you say, be careful what you do. We need one spark, and this whole thing can really can go, as they say, south. So yeah. So there's a bit of a background on where we are, but it's not all doom and gloom. A couple of things are still working. The private sector, in a weird way, is taking over where the state is supposed to provide a lot of goods and services. The private sector is doing a brilliant job in that. And technological changes, hopefully we will get to that. That's also happening. So all sort of good things are happening. And when you talk about the state, by the way, it's not everything that's collapsed. You and I, we can talk about government, we can criticize them. So free speech is still very much protected in South Africa. It's a good thing. The South African Reserve Bank is run very, very well. Sometimes it's quite painful when they increase interest rates, but that's working quite well. The judiciary in South Africa is working fine. We still have a lot of infrastructure. We still have a lot of people brilliant people in South Africa, many of those that keep the country going, despite the challenges and so on. So it's not all doom and gloom, but you have to be aware of these sort of challenges, and you have to prepare for these sort of challenges. So when it happens, that you are in a position where you can manage it.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, there's quite a load that you threw in there. And one of the things, if I can just go back to the technology part, because one of the things that now came through my mind is, so it's a global thing, this change in technology and how things are becoming more accessible in some way, but also for some people difficult to get access. So it's not like it's accessible to everybody. Yeah. But I think about the number of people that has emigrated, to other countries, and specifically now again with Eskom and load shedding being like, almost a permanent thing. I really got annoyed and sort of, I wouldn't say, but really concerned when I read an article last week or it was last week, where Eskom was saying, look, the next 5 years, there's no way they're gonna win this thing. And I don't even know, like beyond that, saying 5 years is buying time, but I don't know. There's too many things still holding us back. And I don't have faith that we're probably going to fix this, although I have hope that we would, because I've always said to people who just, okay, now we've got to move overseas, we can't deal with this, that, we will never let this country collapse. That's still my deepest belief. But also, are you willing to take the chance and the bet on that's going to happen? So now my question that I'm getting to is, we've obviously seen a lot of people emigrating for various reasons, but particularly now again, when all this load shedding stuff started, loads more people that I personally know. Previously it used to be people that I hear of. I don't know them. You just see the numbers. Now there's so many people I know personally that are leaving. People that said they'll never leave. So that's on the one hand. But on the other hand, if you then bring in the technology thing, sort of that connects the world more and more and more, does it make sense? And I know from a security, safety point of view, probably, maybe even a lifestyle point of view, but I mean, does it make sense for people to still leave?
Yeah, you're touching, and I think you got to the real important part at the end of what you've just said, and that has to do with technological changes. We are physical beings, and we will always be. You need to eat, you need to be safe, you need to have nice steak, you need brandy and Coke, all those sort of things you can find in South Africa. It's a nice place to be, but the safety is a major issue in South Africa, and people are immigrating, many of them, because of safety. Now, we've got personal experience in my house here about how dangerous South Africa certainly is. So that, I guess, is a good reason why people quite often immigrate. There are many other reasons as well, like crime, well, not only crime, but also corruption and a government that's really inefficient and discriminating against certain groups, and opportunities and more opportunities internationally. So there are all those sort of reasons. All those reasons are valid. But what people quite often forget is that technology has created a new world in which we're living in, and the nature of economies. I'm an economist, so I look at how economies evolved and where we come from and where we're probably going to go to. And economies evolved, economies continuously evolve. And the interesting thing about economies is that they evolve from being primary focused, and primary focus means things like, for example, agriculture and mining and so on. And economists categorize the economy as primary and secondary and tertiary part of the economy. But gradually, as you evolve, you move into the secondary part of the economy, and gradually from there into the tertiary part of the economy, or the service part of the economy. And that's where growth is taking place today. So most value creation is doing what you and I are doing exactly now. It happens in that part of the economy. And that's also that part of the economy that is digitizable, if there is such a word. So and it doesn't matter where you are if you really participate in that side of the economy. Now, I was locked up in Russia a couple of months ago because of some issues that we had with passports in Russia, and we were forced to stay in Moscow for a couple of days extra. Fortunately, we had very good internet connection or connectivity there, and I continued with my work. And many people didn't even know that I was actually sitting in Moscow. The kids were with us, and I contacted their teachers, and I kept on with their schooling. I mean, I nearly threw them out of the window at one stage, but the point is that we continued, and nothing really changed in my life. I was just sitting somewhere else. And I think that's important for people to understand, is that the nature of the economy is changing, and it really doesn't matter where you are. And if you've got a nice, safe place to stay in South Africa, stay here, but it doesn't mean that you have to work in South Africa. You can work anywhere in the world as long as you have the technology or the skills, the necessary computers and stuff like what we have now, and of course a good internet connection. Those things are really crucial. Unfortunately, most people in South Africa can't do that, because the quality of especially our primary education is really, really bad in South Africa. Unfortunately, the infrastructure is falling apart, and I said you don't really need much of an infrastructure if you were in this kind of, but you need some infrastructure. You need the electricity, as an example. So many other things are still falling apart, making it even difficult for South Africans to participate in this advanced side of the economy. But you can make a plan, but you don't necessarily have to immigrate if you want to be part of this advanced part, the digitizable part of the economy, and that is where economic growth is taking place. So perhaps in future, I think what the world is going to look like, the cities in future, is going to look, are we going to look similar to what we had in the Middle Ages, where we had these city-states, and we are already living in these city-states. The only difference is these city-states are not physical places. Of course, they are. I'm living in a security complex, so in a way that's a city-state. But more importantly, these city-states you can find them in the cloud. You can join, and you all belong to this already. We all belong to WhatsApp groups or to Facebook groups or whatever. That is a community somewhere in the cloud. And with new developments, like, for example, private monies and cryptocurrencies and things like that, you can create a whole economy somewhere in the cloud, and you can join any community you like to join. So I think that's a perspective that we quite often do not recognize, in that it really, if you're a computer programmer, then go and find the best place in the world to live, for example, and you can still be a computer programmer working for anybody. So I've got a few industries that I absolutely love. I can just mention them, and if you want to talk about it, we can. One is agriculture. I think agriculture is going to change a lot. That's a typical primary sector industry, business. The second one is education, of which I've got some personal experience, like I've said. The third one is personalized medicine, or so-called wearables, like the stuff that I'm wearing. And the fourth one that I love is finance. Finance is going to change dramatically. So those are four industries that I think is already changing quite dramatically. And in fact, it doesn't matter. You can be just about anything and participate in those four industries as well. But the most important part, what you need, is good connectivity and skills. That's crucial. Good connectivity and skills. And of course, you have to be safe, especially in South Africa.
Yeah. And I mean, all of this stuff excites me tremendously, because like already there's a couple of those, I want to say, building blocks we've got in place, because we've been setting ourselves up over many years. Like I've been working from home, for example, from 2013 already. So long before it was, and I battled with ADSL until 2019 when we finally got fiber. So I've fully subscribed to that, and to say, well, look, I mean, around the show, around the Propulsion Pro community that we've got for financial planners, all of that stuff is exactly but now I never thought about it like you've just explained. So now I'm already getting excited. Obviously, my wife and I are going to have a conversation right after this again, because there's quite interesting things there. It is quite important, I think. Just think about those four industries that you spoke about, or those four economies, is that, you can be working and active in one or two of those and be investing into some of the others. If I think about how easy it's become to invest into agriculture via an app, buy a cow or a piece of a cow, the only pieces of cows I usually buy is the steaks. So it's already been processed. I don't own any live cattle, but I mean, that's totally possible today because of technology. And again, you can do it anywhere in the world, if that sort of economy exists from that point. And that's the power that I don't think we really realize yet where we are already, never mind where we're going.
Yeah, let me give you an example. And I'm very excited about agriculture because traditionally agriculture is seen as one of those dirty industries with mining. But agriculture is reinventing itself. Now, let me give you a good example of what I mean by a good example of the digital part of agriculture, and that is genetics. Because a geneticist today, what is the equivalent of a geneticist today to somebody 1,000 years ago, for example? I would say it's probably a farmer. A farmer then, and a geneticist today is the modern equivalent of a farmer 1,000 years ago. Because they know animals, they know plants, and they select for animals and they select for plants. But the geneticists today will take a living organism, analyze its genome, put it into some statistical program, because in the end, genetics today has become statistics, basically, or mathematics in a way, statistics, and then email this information to somebody else in the world. So you digitize life, and then you send it to somebody else in the world. And that's agriculture, really, although officially it's categorized as part of the service industry, but that's actually agriculture. And that's some of the interesting financial stuff that is happening that I am so excited about. But again, there are very few people really in South Africa that can participate. They are staying behind because they just don't get the proper primary education. Now, I've got a thing about education. I think we can even close all the universities in South Africa, or don't have to spend much money on the universities in South Africa, but put all our effort in primary education. All our effort. Make sure you've got the best primary education in the world, because, for example, that leap in knowledge accumulation in grade 1 will be greater than ever in your academic career. But it will be more than your final year in doing your PhD in decentralized finance or in chemical engineering or whatever. Grade 1 or grade R or whatever, that's by far the most important part of your whole education career. And that's where we have to put the effort in. If we really want to uplift people in South Africa and make South Africa a successful country, put the effort where it matters, and that's with primary education. But I'm going on a tandem now. But they are some of my really things that I feel quite strongly about, and I think primary education is certainly one of those.
Yeah, and I honestly think we can have a whole conversation only on schooling, because like I've also got very strong views around that and how things maybe could be structured to have better outcomes at the end of the day. Because at the moment it's so rigid and everybody needs to do the same thing almost. And although you have a little bit of specialized schools here and there, it's just not, I think, the right thing to prepare people or children for the future that awaits them.
Can I interrupt you there? I mean, yeah. And again, I'm very passionate about that. In future, education is on its way to change dramatically. And I think COVID actually accelerated the process that was in place already. And education in future will be less qualification-based and more skills-based. Education in future will be more shorter courses, little sort of things that you have to do continuously until the day that you die. If you want to participate in the modern economy, you have to continuously make sure that you're at the sharp end of the edge, that you understand and know what is going on. And education in future will not be a class with a lot of kids with a teacher standing in front. It will be at your own pace for every individual. But we, in our heads in South Africa, we still got this fixation on qualifications, and we forget about skills that's supposed to come with the qualification. Not always. We produce 600,000 qualifications called matric every year, but it's not worth the paper it's printed on. And quite often people getting this qualification can't even read their own piece of paper. So that's an example of a qualification without the necessary skills. But anyway, again, it's about education and amazing opportunities. Also as an investment opportunity, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, okay, I'm not going to go further down that road, because now we're going to be here for 3 hours, Dawie, I can promise you that. But I fully agree with that. And I think, the other big thing that we need to teach ourselves as adults, but also our children, and also then be part of schooling, is instead of this thing of making people afraid to fail and to try, to actually encourage trying and failing, because I think that is why so few people actually take the step to do and actually go and do something and figure things out these days. I mean, there is a group of people and they are seen as probably as being brilliant and gifted and all that stuff. The only difference between them and the rest is that they are not afraid to fail. They're not afraid to ask the question. They're not afraid to try. And I think that's the big thing that school is sort of killing, along the way.
Can I say something on a personal level? And that is that I've done a lot of marathons and comrades and Ironmen and all sort of funny things. And I'm not a good sportsman. Please, I'm not a good sportsman. But I amazed myself every time when I tried to do one of these things that I can actually do it. So that's on a personal note. I would encourage people to do stuff that you don't think you will be able to do, and you will be amazed what you can achieve. But from an economic point of view, let me make a comment about a failure that is good. One of the best things that can happen in an economy is for a business to go out of business, for a company to go bankrupt. It's one of the best things that can happen to a business. And our politicians, of course, don't want that because there's a lot of disruption, people losing their jobs. It's bad for companies to fail. It is not. That's the nature of the guy. It's the nature of the beast. It's supposed to work like that, because how it's supposed to work is a company, you've got capital locked up in a company. The company is being mismanaged for whatever reason. It gets into trouble. It's get liquidated, and you take the scarce capital and you give it to somebody else to give it the go again. But what we do in South Africa, we've got all sort of rules and regulations and laws and so on, trying to keep businesses alive that's not supposed to be alive. Eskom is a good example. It's not supposed to be alive. South African Airways is not supposed to be alive. And the nature of the economy and of a functioning and a vibrant economy is an economy that keeps on creating new things and keep on destroying old things. That's how it's supposed to function. But unfortunately, in the case of South Africa, we interfere so much with this normal creation destruction process that the thing doesn't work properly. And there are so many examples of that. I mean, there are laws preventing us from employing people. I mean, how crazy can you be from employing people? And many other examples, Eskom and the like, we've mentioned that already.
Awesome. Dawie, so from a financial planner point of view, right? The Efficient Group is also big into financial planning, financial advice, amongst all the other things that you do. But I mean, let's just bring it back to financial planning for a second and say, well, what are the most important things that you would say to any financial advisor or planner who is at this point in time, advising clients on investments or retirement and things like that? Because things are very real, specifically for people at close or just into retirement now. Like what is there any advice that you would give them?
Yeah.
Like what should they consider at this point?
I'm not going to give advice to the financial advisors. They know their stuff much better than I do. It's the normal stuff: diversify, make sure a chunk of your clients' assets are invested abroad for various reasons. I like international investments for various reasons and so on. But rather, the important thing here is not what the financial advisors should be doing, but what the client should be doing. And the biggest danger for a client is to know and to pick a right person to do business with. That is the biggest risk for a client. And of course, you as a financial advisor would like to think that you are the right person. Please pick me. And of course, I hope that is the case. But imagine being a client, imagine somebody that is not so financially skilled or knowledgeable as the financial advisors, and you want to get somebody to assist you with making these big decisions, because these decisions are, huge decisions. Will I have enough money to retire? Where should I put my money? Should I invest it in high or low risk stuff? Imagine the poor client, because that is his biggest risk, and that's his biggest decision. Who can I trust to advise me? And I always tell advisors, in the end, it's a bit of a gut feeling as well. There are normal stuff that you can do. You can go and see whether the financial advisor is registered. You can go and talk to the other clients of the financial advisor. So you can do that sort of stuff. But in the end, you have to find somebody that you are prepared to walk a long way with. And once you've decided to trust somebody, but take your time, don't trust easy. Take your time before you trust. But once you've decided you want to put your trust in this individual, then this individual becomes your financial advisor, and this individual is supposed to take your hand and walk you through this this minefield of financial decisions that you have to make. And this will include things like, for example, retirement planning and risky investments and less risky investments. And you know what? Your financial advisor is going to be wrong a lot. Nobody knows what's going to happen tomorrow. So when the market is down, provided your financial advisor knows you well, and provided he's put you in the right financial products, if the market is down, the market is down. Come on, live with that. Because the biggest risk is make sure that you have the right financial advisor. And once you make that decision, and once you're in those financial products, remember, it's going to be a rough ride. It doesn't matter where you are. And that's the nature of the financial markets. And I think that's important. That is the starting point. And that is where the client must always see the biggest risk is to put your trust in a person that can be trusted. And that's where you need to do your homework.
Yeah, and that means that the financial advisor better make sure that they are that person. Absolutely. And Dawie, so then maybe something that's linked to this, and as I said in the intro, that you are researching, the impact or possible impact of crypto on monetary policy. Any view on this, specifically in regards to what's been happening lately? I mean, obviously now it's always interesting to me when things are going well, there's certain people who's very quiet and some people who's very vocal about it. And then when things turn around, like now with I think it's FTX, with them imploding and not being bought by Binance and all that kind of stuff, then now suddenly like some of the crypto guys have gone quiet, and then all the naysayers are now, look at this. So it's always like I just sit back and watch because I don't have an opinion yet. But what are some of the maybe one or two most interesting things that you've found through your research, and what do you think the future is of crypto in the world economy, not just South Africa?
Well, I don't think, the whole thing imploded now the last couple of weeks or so, last 2 weeks or so. And we don't know the full story yet. I've got a suspicion is that fraud and normal old-fashioned theft play a very important role here. So that could have happened, and it does happen with banks, normal banks. It does happen with normal financial institutions as well. There are many examples of that. I think crypto is here to stay. It is not about crypto necessarily, but it's about other things. It's a technology. But I think in the end, what we're going to have, and I'm not going to spend too much time on that. Maybe one day we can talk more about crypto if we really want to. But I think it's going to stay. And I think in future, we will have currencies that specialize in certain things. But it's to limit this only to currencies is wrong. There's much, much more to so-called crypto. NFTs, for example. You must understand what it is and what the role in future of NFT is going to be, what the role of banks is going to be in future. But let me just answer you something that I find very, very interesting at the moment, and that is central bank digital currencies. Central banks have started issuing digital currencies. It's a new thing, and there are various ways through which you can construct a central bank digital currency, and there are many, many dangers here. And the biggest danger, as far as I'm concerned, and remember, I believe in I'm a real classical libertarian. I think you can call me an anarchist. I'm happy to be called a radical anarchist, but the good kind, not the kind that destroys stuff. So I believe in personal individual freedom. And I can tell you, if we eventually accept central bank digital currencies, it is possible to design a central bank digital currency in such a manner that the authorities, the central bank or government or whatever, will be able to trace and monitor all financial transactions down to the last cent. Now, that is a lot of information, and that's a lot of power that the politicians will have over our lives. I don't like that. That is the biggest dangers for central bank digital currencies, this immense power that will be put in the hands of the authorities. I mean, things like they can, for example, prescribe or design a central bank digital currency in such a manner that you will prevent it from buying brandy. You will only be allowed to buy food and not alcohol, for example, which might be a good or a bad thing, but that's not the point. The point is they will have a lot of power over on individuals, and that's the dangerous thing. But central bank digital currencies are coming. Many of them, the most recent central bank that is just issued experimental currency is called the Indian Central Bank. They've just issued their own rupee, digital rupee. The Chinese, they've had the digital yuan for some time, and many other of the central banks are experimenting with central bank digital currencies. The South African Central Bank is looking at that as well. So that is coming. And people don't even realize that, and they don't even understand how the world of finance is going to be changed because of central bank digital currencies. And for that reason, I advise people, make sure you understand this technology. Of course, it's a volatile place. It's a very dangerous place. Be very careful with your passwords and stuff like that. Don't see this as an investment. That's not the point. But in this discussion that we've had the past half an hour, it's about skills. And this is another example. Make sure you understand this. So buy 100 Rand or 1,000 Rands worth of Bitcoin or Ethereum or whatever, and play with it so you can get used to the technology. Make sure you can do the stuff, because this is going to be part of our financial lives going forward. And it's become mainstream. It's not some wacko somewhere that is playing with this funny thing called Bitcoin or blockchain or whatever. It has become mainstream, and we're going to hear much more from this going forward.
Yeah, man, it's been around now 13 years. I think 2009 is when Bitcoin became something, or when it was started. So it's not that new anymore. But it's interesting. I just want to end off with this comment before I go a little bit off topic with the last question. But if you think about the whole idea behind crypto was this decentralized, get away from governments, and then all government is doing is saying, "But let's start our own one, and we just make it law." Probably.
In a weird way, you're right. The blockchain is supposed to be decentralized, but the central bank digital currency is actually a centralization of the blockchain in a way.
Very interesting. Dawie, then I want to ask you, I think if there's one of the things that I enjoy a lot, apart from listening to you in the media and always, whenever you talk and I'm able to see or to read about what you say, is really watching on Bytes Soccer. Like, how the hell for 20 years, basically, have you done this every Saturday? I mean, you are giving up every single Saturday for that. How do you do that? Like what is it that keeps that program going? And what is it that just keeps you there?
It's more than 1,000 programs now that I've anchored.
Wow.
And I've anchored some other TV programs before that as well, and radio programs and so on. And I guess other people play golf, so it's really quite nice to present it. They are incredible people. Unfortunately, you look at the presenters and you think that the presenters are the main people there. They're not. There are a lot of people working behind the scenes that don't get the necessary recognition. People that do the research for you and really do a lot. I mean, everything. I mean, there are so many other people behind, and they don't always get the necessary recognition for a program that's successful. But Bytes Soccer has been going on for 20 years, as you say. I was there from the first program of On Bytes Soccer, and I've been presenting it ever since. It's a lot of fun for me. I try to. It consists of all sort of things. We've got a cook there, and we've got some news. We've got some weather. I've got some economic news. We've got some interesting guests and all that. And I tried, because it's a family program, it's a Saturday morning program, I tried to put a bit of a lighter spin on things and try to make some fun, but at the same time, make sure that people get some important information with that as well. So I guess that's my day off in a way, and I really enjoy it.
And if I think about the past co-hosts, they're all so much fun, particularly if you have someone like now, like Eloise. That's a lot of fun, but there's always been whether it was the person cooking or what was the previous guy's name that did the weather before?
Jan Arm Skutte,
Jan Arm, yeah. When he was brilliant. The new guy is absolutely brilliant. And it's just
people,
and I think that's what makes it fun. It's not just you alone. It's like, actually, I think everybody gets up for each other, probably.
It's interesting, but you will probably know what I mean by the following. In that is, when you present a program like this, various character, you after a while you develop a kind of a character. Actually, I mean, there's a certain way that you treat your co-presenters, and there's this rivalry between me and Leon, for example. We never have a good word for one another. But he's a really good guy. I mean, he's a brilliant musician. So there's always this rivalry between the two of us, and we're always pinching one another and so on. So you create these characters, kind of. It's a bit like a soapy in a way, I guess.
Yeah. That's absolutely amazing. But well done on that, and please keep it going. You make plenty people Saturdays, so appreciate that. Dawie, just from my side and on behalf of the audience, thank you very much for joining us this morning. I really appreciate it. It's been a very insightful conversation, one that could probably carry on for the whole day. But just thank you for taking the time, for saying yes. And thanks for everything you do. It does have a massive impact. You know, you have the guts to speak up. You have the guts to criticize, and always in a respectful and coming from a place of, we want to make things better. As you said earlier, you're not one of those guys who just want to break down for the sake of breaking down. It is, how do we move forward? Like, what are the things we could practically do? I think the challenge comes into holding people accountable, because the ones who should be holding people accountable are not. But yeah, as long as we keep saying the things that we need to say, then hopefully there's hope at the end of the tunnel. But thank you very much. Where can people, are you open for people to connect with you on places like LinkedIn, etc.?
Yeah, no, the easiest to get hold of me is just to email, just to Google me and send me an email. That will be easy to send me an email or whatever. But if you want to know, it's Dawie Roodt, one word, at efgroup.co.za. So thank you very much for this invite. I really enjoyed chatting to you. And remember, always try stuff that you don't think you will be able to do, and you will be amazed on what you can achieve.
Awesome stuff. Dawie, thank you. Have a fantastic weekend and enjoy on Byte Soccer tomorrow morning.
Thank you, Will.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. There we go. Cheers. So next week, my guest is David Anzara. We'll be back next week, same time, same place. Enjoy your weekend. Stay safe, be blessed and prosper. And remember to always continue to raise the bar. Love you. Bye-bye.
The whole idea